Will you be like a big strong sister to me? I know that your love is true, and never talk dirt behind my back like most of the others might do.
I'd like to thank ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, not only for covering our meeting and our open houses, and as Dale mentioned, on the 20th, we'll be at the KSC Hall. But I did want to mention that ECAT also gives us the opportunity to do a TV show once a month. It's called Easton 300. It's an opportunity for me to bring in people in the community to be interviewed, to talk about their events, to talk about the celebration. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch it. I know people just don't watch TV every day, but the fact is that it's a good way for us to spread the good word about the celebration. Our 300th anniversary begins on January 1st. I see Anne Marie and Amanda here. They are co-chairing the first day celebration. It'll take place at the high school, indoors and outdoors. And I don't know if we've got that far yet. We've been talking about the possibility of a laser light show, if we could pull something like that off. And we have appropriate sponsors to sponsor the expense. We now have next in line an art festival weekend. And we had some dates we've already posted. Those are going to change because it happens to be Easter weekend. So we'll make those changes. And we got lots of artists here in the town of Easton that would like to present an art display, maybe do a theater production. I know at Stonehill College, they've agreed to do a theater production in their museum, all part of the Art Festival weekend. We are still searching for a couple of coordinators. And I say that not only to the folks that are here, maybe look into some of the artists that you think might be good to participate in our committee. And I also say it to the folks that may be watching on ECAT. We are looking for a couple of coordinators to join us for an art festival weekend. The next event is on June 14th. That happens to be Flag Day. We not only have a chance to celebrate the red, white, and blue, the American flag, but we have a big day planned. We have an all-day picnic at the Governor Ames Estate. We have a band concert going off from 7 to 9. And we have a fireworks display. And the co-chair of that event, along with myself, will be Chief Justin Alexander, our fire chief here in the town of Easton. I couldn't think of a better co-host than the fire chief. He's going to keep it safe for all of us. He also has agreed to participate in the bonfire. We don't know at this point where the bonfire will take place, but I'll guarantee you it'll be a safe place. And it's a great opportunity to bring family together, to watch the fire, and to reminisce about the importance of family and the importance of celebrating 300 years here in the town of Easton. The next event is going to take place on July 4th. It's going to be what we think and hope will be the largest parade the town's ever had. We have Corey, who does all the parades here in the town of Easton. He's going to head up the parade. Ahonen is the last name, and he's already talking about bands. He's talking about floats. He's talking about fire apparatus from all the towns. He's talking about police cruisers, motorcycles, military, horses, bicycles, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the list goes on and on. And maybe, folks, you may not be interested in volunteering, but you might be interested in being in the parade. The parade begins at 10 a.m. The lineup is at 9. There'll be a review stand in front of the DPW, which may not be there then. But the fact is that we're hoping after the parade ends on the main street, it's going to go down the entire route of Center Street. And yes, we'll take a periodic stop just to rest. They'll go by the review stand. The Center Street's going to be marked red, white, and blue. So you're not going to miss the parade route months before the parade even begins. The parade's going to end at the block party. And of course, we have two coordinators that are going to handle the block party. Don and his wife, Anderson. Jamie. Sorry, Jamie, I didn't recognize you. If I did, I might have got the name right. The fact is that there's going to be a block party, a chance for the participants in the parade to come together to enjoy refreshments, and maybe some of the bands will be involved as well. So they have, according to Don, a large variety of activities. I know one of their volunteers is over here. Dave? There he is. The bonfire will be scheduled in April, and the final event, signature event, will be the gala. You'll see the poster over here somewhere. The anniversary gala is an opportunity, a black tie event. We're going to roll out the red carpet. We're going to put the flashing lights as you went to Stonehill College to attend the gala. There's going to be a dinner, a sit-down dinner. Southeast Regional Vocational High School is going to do the cake for the gala. We're going to ask our select board here in the town of Easton to cut the cake. And of course, there'll be giveaways. There'll be all kinds of things that'll be happening at the gala. This is a chance for the committee to celebrate 3 long years of planning and preparing this celebration. So get your family ready, folks. Get your relatives. Have them come to the gala. There's been 2 galas in surrounding towns. They've had 500 or 600 people. So I'm expecting that we're going to get a huge crowd. We're going to have a featured speaker. We're going to have a master of ceremonies. And we're asking everybody to get there early and to enjoy. And of course, there may be some bus transportation if we have an overflow crowd, but we're going to be working on those details as we get closer and closer. There's going to be tri-chairs of that anniversary gala. Anne Marie and Amanda and myself will be very much involved and working with Father John, the president of Stonehill College. So that's an idea of what the celebration is all about. There may be folks out there in our viewing audience that may be interested in making some suggestions. You folks that are here tonight at the VFW, if you have some suggestions or things you'd like to add, please make sure you speak to one of the committee members. At this time, I think it's appropriate to talk a little bit about the history here in the town of Easton. I couldn't think of a better person than the president of the Historical Society here in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Ken Michael. That's what my wife does all the time when I'm at the microphone. Goes like this. Linda, you were a little slow tonight in the uptake. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ken Michael. As I was just introduced, you reminded me who I was. I am the president of the Historical Society and Museum. I'm also the chair of the business committee on the Tricentennial Committee. Dave has asked me to talk about the 300-year history of the town of Easton. He let me know about half an hour ago I was going to do this. So if anybody here has 300 years to listen to me, relax, be careful. First of all, I'd like to thank Steve Shaw and the folks here at the VFW for hosting us tonight. They've done a really nice job. And I'd like to thank everybody who's here tonight. I know Dave has already done so, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming as well.
It's a little rainy and cold out there, so I can understand that. I've lived in Easton since 1960, so I've missed about 235 or 240 years of the history of Easton, but I'll make it up as I go along here. I graduated from OA and from Stonehill College, so I've been around. There's a lot of facts about Easton that most people really don't know. Easton was originally part of what they called the Taunton North Purchase, which happened in 1668. And there actually weren't a whole lot of folks here in Easton other than indigenous people up until about 1676. And between 1676 and 1694, most of the English settlers who settled here came to town. I'm not sure what it all looked like, but I'm sure there were a lot of trees and animals and maybe not too many buildings. The buildings came later. In 1710, excuse me, Norton separated from Taunton, so it didn't like being part of the purchase, so it moved. Then in 1725, I have to look because I don't want to make any mistakes while I'm on camera here. The east end of Norton was incorporated in 1725 as the town of Easton. So if you're talking to anybody from Norton, you can tell them, well, the east end of Norton has surpassed Norton because now we're Easton. And one of the most eventful things that happened in Easton was in 1803, one Mr. Oliver Ames moved over from Bridgewater to start his shovel factory here in Easton. And for those of you who don't know, the original shovel factory was on a spot called the Island, which is on the other side of the pond, down on the governor's estate. Later on, the factory that was over there burnt, and it moved across the pond. I don't know how they rode everybody over, but they got over there. And they set up temporary factories in many of the duplex homes and buildings that you'll see on Oliver Street running from the governor's estate up to Main Street. And later, the shovel shops, which are now adaptively reused as apartments, were built and housed the shovel factories up actually until about 1962 or 3, when the final operations were moved out of there and down to West Virginia. At one time, the Ames Shovel and Tool Company was selling about 70% of the world's shovels. Now think about that. They were selling 70%, and they were making them right here. And it was one of the first integrated corporations in that, as they went along, they needed oak for handles. So what did they do? They went out and bought some forest and timber. They needed iron ore to make the shovels and the other tools, because they didn't make just shovels. So what did they do? They bought iron mines. They needed coal. They bought coal mines. They needed to ship their product. They started their own shipping lines. They had their own ships, excuse me, one of which, it's not clear whether the Ames family owned it, but it was called the Governor Ames. And at one point in time, as a 5-masted schooner, it was the largest cargo ship in the world at its time. So from one business grew a lot of things. One of the things that grew from the family was many of the buildings that you see in Easton were commissioned by the Ames family. For example, Oaks Ames Memorial Hall, the Ames Free Library, excuse me, the railroad station, which is the home of the Easton Historical Society and Museum, the Gate Lodge down on Elm Street. And one thing that often gets missed is the Gardener's Cottage, which is on Elm Street just after the Gate Lodge, heading towards Route 138. And that is one of the 2, I believe, wooden buildings that were designed by H.H. Richardson. And his co-partner in all of this was Frederick Law Olmsted, whose first major commission was New York Central Park. He also did the Emerald Necklace in and around Boston. And all of that, and all of these treasures that we have here in Easton of that type are a result of the Ameses. For those of you, and I'm assuming all, are familiar with Unity Church, that was also commissioned by the Ames family, and it was designed by John Ames Mitchell, who was the architect and a relative. The story is, I don't know if it's true, but the story is that when he finished designing the church, he said, I'm never going to do anything better than this. And he left the practice of architecture and allegedly started Life magazine. So I guess he had a few more talents. Some of the other things that were going on were civic endeavors by the Ames family, such as the Anna C. Ames Band, and they were very, very musical. They gave back to the community. And when you think about it, this really wasn't their main home. The majority of the Ames family lived in Boston. At one point in time, between Arlington Street and Dartmouth, they owned 13 residences, which were their major residence. This was kind of their summer home. So think about that when you're looking around. If you ever want to see some pictures of many of the homes that are no longer in existence, drop in at the Historical Society. There's a whole series of those pictures of the homes if you're interested. The Ames Shovel and Tool Company sold tools to the folks who made the Erie Canal. They sold during the Civil War to the Union Army. They were originally the sellers of tools to the Transcontinental Railroad running from east to west. Later, they became the financiers of the Transcontinental Railroad and helped to build it from east to west. Now, most people think about the Ameses as if they invented the shovel. They didn't. But they did have a great deal to do with the evolution of the shovel. For example, the next time you're using a shovel and you see that curve in the front of the shovel, say thank you, because that's what's saving your back when you're lifting that shovel up and holding it. And they patented that particular evolution. They were not the only industry in the town of Easton. As a matter of fact, one of the very first automobiles in the country was built at the Easton Machine Company, which is right around the corner from Hennessy's Liquor Store. Just giving you a landmark in case anybody wants to find it. So if you know where Hennessy's Liquor Store is, just after CVS, look around the corner. That's where the car was built. And the first prototype was modeled after a horse and buggy. It happens to be, and I'm saying this because it happens to be at the Easton Historical Society Museum. So if you ever want to see it, drop in. There's only one other Morse card that anybody knows is in existence. That's located down in Missouri, in New Jersey, and it's a 1907, I think it's a Tourer, I think was the model name. In addition to that, we had a company here, Poole & Sons, which manufactured some of the highest quality measurement tools in the country during the day. They were located up on Route 106, up by where the regional high school is. And they were noted for a whole lot of different types of things, barometers, all kinds of navigational tools, etc. If you ever want to see any of those, get down to the railroad station. There's a whole bunch of them there as well. We also had Belcher Mailable Iron Company, which is located up on 106, no longer there. So, and then over time, as the town has grown, it originally was mainly agriculture. It's grown to more residential than agriculture. A lot of that agricultural land has been built upon. And now when I moved here in 1960, I believe the population was something like around 75 or 8,000 people. Today, it's around 23,000, and I may be a little off, but the square miles in the town are about 23. So about 1,000 people per square mile, maybe slightly less. I'll be good when I learn how to speak. I'll be really good then. And of course, we also have Stonehill College, and Stonehill was originally an Ames mansion. It was purchased by the Holy Cross Fathers in 1948, and has grown to a capacity of 2,500 students, which is where they keep it. And the college is annually rated in the top 100 of colleges of its type, liberal arts colleges in the country. There's a whole variety of magazines that do that survey. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm trying to think of what else I can say here, because I had to ad-lib all of this from my good friend, Mr. Clifton here. Thanks, Dave. But I will tell you that I was talking a little bit about the buildings earlier in the town. And just to kind of give you a spectrum of those buildings and the timing, the Long Shop, which is part of the industrial complex, now the Shovel Shop Apartments, was built in 1852. The railroad station was built over a span of time, 1881 to 1872. Unity Church was built in 1875. The library was 1877 to 79. Oaks Ames Memorial Hall was in around the 1879, but in 1885, Oaks Ames Memorial Hall, correct me if I'm wrong here, Joe, was voted one of the top 10 buildings in the United States. So this is all in the town of Easton. The Gate Lodge was 1880, and then the Gardener's Cottage, which I mentioned earlier, was 1884. I think if anybody's looking for motivation as to why we should celebrate the town, all you really have to do is walk around and look at so many of, not just the buildings, but the open spaces. Borderland State Park, Stonehill College, all the residential areas of the town, Southeastern, Eastondale, Unionville, Northeastern, all the way up to the border of that other country up there, Mansfield. So I think if you're talking to your friends and they're asking you any questions about the town itself and why should you get involved, it's a great place to live and pretty scenic. There's a lot of cultural and sports. I didn't even mention sports. I mean, for years and years, the history of sports, high school sports, semi-pro sports here, the Easton Huskies baseball and basketball teams, Olive Ames High School, Stonehill College, which just went to Division I in all of its sports. There's a long, and great history of sports in the town. Go with the culture. All of the Ames Free Library is voted one of the top 3 libraries, small libraries in the country. So there's a whole lot of things to look at here in town, not to mention the people. And a lot of good reason for us to be celebrating our 300th anniversary. And on that note, I'm not going to keep you for another 299 years to go over this all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ken. I can see my dessert table is now being set up. I did want to get to another reason why we came here this evening is to announce and unveil the winner of our logo contest. And I know that the recipient is here. I'm now going to call Mike Good. Mike is Head of Marketing and Communications on our Tricentennial Committee, and he has some good things to say. And while he's getting ready, I wanted to thank you, Dale, for putting the slide presentation together, a chance to recognize everyone who provided an entry. Here he is, Mike Good.
Thank you. First, thank you to our host, and thank you for all those that aren't on the committee that are here. I know we're a little committee heavy tonight in terms of the attendance, but thank you for those that came out in the rain. I'm trying not to get in the way of this. So we did have a logo contest. To start our process of celebrating the town in 2025, one of the things we decided we needed was a logo, something to kind of build our marketing materials, our website, everything around. And there was discussion about should we hire an artist, graphic designer, what have you. And looking back at contests the town had held in the past, like the water department logo contest, things of that nature, we thought one of the best ways to kind of start with community involvement would be to put the logo out to contest, so to speak, and put it out to the public and have folks kind of take a shot or a stab at making something that we could use with the downtown, the clock being the focal point and it's like a source of inspiration, so to speak. So obviously the slides are off now when I would need them most, but as you saw, there was 100 and how many, Kim? I bet you 15, 129 entries or logo submissions. Some folks entered a couple, per person, so to speak. But every logo, thank you. Every logo that you've seen up here tonight, if you've happened to glance at the TV, These were all eligible based on the rules we had going into the contest. There were a lot of different takes. Again, as I was saying, I'm not an artist, but I like art. I don't know what that means. I couldn't do what anyone did here, but there was a lot of really creative entries. So we had our work cut out for us, but the committee, we looked at all of these. So every eligible logo was included in the voting process, so to speak. And we arrived at a majority winner, so to speak, through the voting process, which is under this brown wrapper here. So our winning artist, I don't know if you want to stand up, is Piper Jornalis. Am I saying that correctly? Jornalis. Congratulations. So, yeah, you want to, because I think the easel's going to break. All right, here, I'm going to put this down. Yeah. Look at that. So Piper did an incredible job capturing exactly what we were looking for. So this will be featured on our website. We'll put this out on our social media. We wanted to wait for the big unveiling tonight. So you'll start to see this on our Instagram, on our webpage, on our Facebook page, and this will be included in all the brochures and materials that are going out to promote the great events that Dave was speaking about earlier. We have a lot planned, and this is a great start. And we, like I said, the 300, Tricentennial, the years, everything. This is exactly what we were looking for. So again, Piper, thank you so much. In addition to bragging rights, we have an IOU for you. So we have there is a prize pack coming to you, which includes a thank you certificate, thank you, and a $300 cash prize. And then I'll circle back to you with some swag, so to speak, as we kind of start building out our marketing materials. But again, thank you so much, and thank you all for attending. And I'm going to start rambling, so I'm all done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Good. And congratulations, Piper. Well done. And for all those folks that may be here tonight, and some may be watching on ECAT, we thank you for providing an entry. And I thought that one of the reasons why we did it this way, we wanted to spread the good word about the celebration. And we got a lot of students in school that provided entries. So we thank you all very much on behalf of the Tricentennial Committee. I think it's time for dessert. I thank you all for coming. I would like to remind you that we have clipboards up here. If you'd like to volunteer your time in one of the events, and we'll try to get back to you. Make sure we get your telephone number. Thank you, Adam Carrero, for all the stuff that you've done at ECAT, especially covering our celebration. The volunteer work that you do counts, folks. I think it was Gandhi who once said, and I quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of helping others." Enjoy your dessert.
Will you be like a big, strong sister to me? I know that your love is true, and never talk dirt behind my back like most of the others might do.